Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak upgrades all of the base game monsters with new moves and more aggressive behavior, significantly upping the challenge as players enter Master Rank. However, the new monsters are the main attraction as you work your way through the campaign and beyond. Which are the easiest? Which are the hardest? What's the toughest challenge awaiting you in the endgame? Today, we're going to rank all of the new monsters from easiest to hardest. Be warned, spoilers ahead. Anything from the base game, even if they are doozy in Master Rank, is not included. All of these are based on hunting solo, and note that some may be easier or tougher based on the weapons used. Without further ado, let's get into it, starting with the easiest. Number 17, DAIMYO HERMITAUR. DAIMYO HERMITAUR is your introduction to Sunbreak. A little taste of what to expect, even if it's technically a high rank monster and not Master Ranked. Even if it's not going to chunk 50% of your health at once, the Daimyo does have some quick slices, unpredictable movement, watch for the delayed double dash, brief retreat into returning slash, and giant ground pounds. Get between its pincers with blades or just bash its shell with a blunt weapon and it should go down. Number 16, Blood Orange Bichten. Bichten, but with the exploding pine cones, is a good way to describe the blood orange side of the family tree. Several moves are familiar, like belly flopping for an AoE attack with a flaming pine cone in each hand, or spinning around on its tail while unleashing flaming pine cones. The increased aggression and extensive moveset takes some getting used to, but patience and finding those openings are enough to get by. Number 15, GARANGOLM. GARANGOLM is not a pushover by a long shot. One attack involves raising a stone pillar and exploding it, which can potentially one-shot you. Otherwise, his arms and face present some very big hitboxes, while his attacks are fairly calculated. Break the arms, cause him to topple, keep pace with his leaping about, and you should be good. Number 14, LUNAGARON. LUNAGARON is where things start to get a bit spicy. It's very mobile and unleashes ice attacks which increase wire bug cooldowns if you catch Ice Blight. Of course, once it goes full on werewolf mode, you'll need to avoid overhead jumps, extensive slashing combos, and much more. You may not get one shot out of nowhere, but it still demands caution. Number 13, AURORA SOMNACANTH. SOMNACANTH could get annoying with its sleep attacks and shell bursts, but otherwise, they're easy enough to deal with. AURORA SOMNACANTH is completely ice-based, unleashing sweeping ice breath, frost explosion, while standing on its tail, and even an icy charge. Its ultimate attack, an ice blast that sends 3 lines of explosive frost out, is fairly easy to avoid since its windup is so telegraphed. Nevertheless, it'll keep you on your toes. Number 12, SHOGUN SENATOR. Remember DAIMYO HERMITAUR? Amp up the unpredictability and mobility, give it a much longer slice and dice combo, and then add bleed for good measure. That's SHOGUN SENATOR, but with way more damage. Having to weave between its claws to attack the face proves way more perilous than before, even if it's easier to stagger. Number 11, Pyre rakna-kadaki. A more explosion-heavy version of rakna-kadaki, which was already pretty annoying with its flames. Along with the usual fire breath, Pyre rakna-kadaki shoots out eggs and ignites the webs connecting them. The same strategy as before applies, target its giant egg sac. Bring some fire-resistant armor, stay on your toes as it rapidly pulls itself around the arena, and try not to die, which is always a good idea. Number 10, SEREGIOS. When it comes to bleed damage, DAIMYO HERMITAUR is only the appetizer. SEREGIOS is the main course, quickly firing off its bladed scales and afflicting you before there's time to react. That's only part of its moveset, as it loves to fly in the air and dive down, slashing with its claws at incredible speeds, which only becomes more deadly during its ultimate attack. Toppling it with blunt weapons and using paralysis will offer an edge, but it's still a rough fight the first time around. Number 9, GORE MAGALA. On first encountering it, GORE MAGALA seems to just be some creepy, skulking creep of a monster. It will smash its fist down and leave pools that inflict frenzy, but you wonder if that's really all there is to it. Then it transforms, bathing the area around it in darkness, expanding its wings and truly unleashing the terror inside. From there, you have to deal with more explosions and a higher buildup of frenzy, which removes all forms of healing except from items. Upon dealing enough damage while afflicted, you receive a nice affinity boost. All in all, avoiding or encountering the big melee attacks while staying out of range of its explosive projectiles is the play. Your mileage may vary on whether this is the best version of Gore, but it poses a strong enough challenge at this point in Master Rank. Number 8. ASTALOS. First introduced in Monster Hunter Generations, ASTALOS is as wicked as it looks. It piles on heaps of thunder damage with the induced Thunder Blight causing you to get stunned way more easily. But on top of this is some serious crazy aggression, coupled with confusing attacks like thunder projectiles which move unpredictably across the ground. If it's not crashing into you with its full brunt of its body, then it's spinning around or just charging up a large beam of thunder on its head and bringing it down like a saber. As you'd expect, everything hurts. Number 7. Magma ALMUDRON. One of the most frustrating monsters to fight in the base game is ALMUDRON, and its Magma variant is similarly annoying for some players. When it quickly goes underground and jumps out, slamming with its tail to create an explosion, many are caught unaware. Throwing magma balls, drilling into the ground and pulling out heated boulders, and unpredictably slamming its tail are just some of the more threatening moves one must deal with. Number 6. SHAGARU MAGALA. SHAGARU MAGALA is the adult version of GORE MAGALA who's become stronger, faster, and much more lethal. Along with deploying the short-range energy orbs that explode for extensive damage, SHAGARU MAGALA will slam down, sideswipe, and much more, with frenzy buildup still very much a concern. When it starts flying up and channeling the darkness, you also have to worry about it erupting all around in short bursts. However, the worst part is its beam attack, which can nearly one-hit kill depending on your armor. Running away sounds nice until you realize that the beam extends nearly the length of the Citadel's most open space. Number 5. GAISMAGORM. The final boss, the demon of the abyss and the true host of the curio. GAISMAGORM is big, which means it's pretty easy to break off parts from its head and arms while slicing the tail. However, it also possesses extensive range, whether it's unleashing numerous explosive projectiles or just performing one big 360-degree spin, making it tough to avoid some of its attacks. While the first phase goes by fine enough, the second is littered with crazier attacks, from falling projectiles that explode to a bullet hell sequence of sorts. You even need to deal with a massively powerful attack during the mounted turret sequence that can easily one-shot you. All in all, tough but also befitting of the final boss. Number 4. ESPINAS. ESPINAS is from Monster Hunter Frontier, so immediately fans were excited to see which other monsters could cross over. But what about those of us who never actually fought ESPINAS? Well, first you need to wake it up, which is almost comical when it's still mid-MR grind and your terrible gear isn't critting its head. Upon waking up, it's just one never-ending torrent of pain. One projectile attack can inflict fire blight, paralysis, and poison. It charges back and forth, chunking tons of your health and potentially two-shotting you. Maybe this is the first major block for many players, and maybe it isn't, but ESPINAS is simply overwhelming if you're unprepared. Number 3. MALZENO. Dracula is the motif for Malzeno, but don't be fooled by its regal vibe. It is super aggressive, whether it's firing curio as projectiles, exploding the ground in waves with them, sending shockwaves with a simple smash, or just launching its tail at you. There's very little downtime, and things get even more heated when it transforms, dealing even more damage and gaining new attacks in the process, like teleportation because why not? Though Blood Blight won't drain your life immediately, it's still annoying, especially when trying to either heal or fight back without taking more damage. Number 2. Furious RAJANG. Monkey. That's all. Okay, jokes aside, there's a bit more to Furious RAJANG, which unlocks at Master Rank 50. As with previous iterations, it's constantly enraged with no tail, so you can't calm it down. Smashing the ground, punching you, unleashing breath attacks, that's just the beginning. You also have to contend with the smash that emits thunder shocks from the ground an instant later, thunderballs from midair, and even a spinning thunder drill attack. It moves incredibly fast and everything hurts immensely. Number 1. Scorned MAGNAMALO. Watching the evolution of MAGNAMALO is like seeing the various stages of Uchiha Sasuke in Naruto, as it becomes darker and edgier over time. By the time you fight Scorned MAGNAMALO at Master Rank 100, its hellfire is like Amaterasu on steroids. It's nearly everywhere, whether MAGNAMALO executes a spinning combo which explodes after each rotation, or when it casually chunks you for 70% of your health with one tail blast. The strategy, as with the regular version, is to attack its hellfire-covered parts and detonate them. That's easier said than done, when you're constantly being bodied by explosions and having to keep up with its speed. Defeat Scorned MAGNAMALO and you've overcome the greatest challenge that Sunbreak has to offer. Until future updates, that is. Did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.